USA Today wrote a story about Deion and his penchant after virtually every game they lose, and they've lost several. I think they're 3-7 this year. They got a bye coming up this week. They've lost 7 times, and 3 times this year, Deion has come out in the press conference afterward and said, "We're better than them. We just lost." And let me just read some things from the article. Colorado football coach Deion Sanders has made a series of statements after games this season that have struck some observers as either strange or brutally self-critical. The statements can be summed up like this: "We had a better team with better players than our opponent, but we still lost the game." He said something like that after 3 losses this season, adding fuel to the discussion about why this season turned sour under Sanders and what he will do to fix things after signing a new 5-year contract in March worth more than $10 million annually. The latest statement like this came after his team suffered a 29-22 loss at West Virginia on November 8th. I think we have that soundbite. Let's play Deion Sanders after this West Virginia game. Play the clip.
Well, this is not who we are. We're better than this, and they deserve better than this. I want better than this. I feel like I coach better than this. I feel like we got players that are so much better than what the production that we're putting out. So then you got to identify the coaches. That's us, and that starts with me, because I feel like we got the nucleus inside the locker room that we should be getting done. I don't think we played a team that's athletically and physically better than us. I really don't. I'll stand on that.
Yeah, and so that's where the article picked up. I don't think we played a team that's athletically and physically better than us. I really don't. I'll stand on that. Article goes on. I think I'm done reading from the article. The article goes on to point out these other instances of Deion making this point, and they quote Chad Brown, a former NFL linebacker, former Colorado Buffalo great, where he says, and it's a weird statement, and I'm not sure what it means that you had the better team. You had the better team and you weren't coached well enough, question mark. You had the better team, but they didn't play to their better team talents, question mark. You had the better team, but the other team got lucky, question mark. How do you think you are the better team when you're 15th in the Big 12? That's Chad Brown making an obvious statement. And so I want to translate, in my view, what Deion is saying. Deion is saying, hey, look, guys, this is what I told my coaching staff. This is what I told Rick George, the athletic director. This is what I told the school president. I'm going to bring the Louis Vuitton luggage. I'm going to bring the talent. That's my skill. Players want to play for me. They love me and they'll play for me very hard. I have a unique connection with players. I can sit at home and recruit the country nationally. I can talk someone like Travis Hunter, one of the 2 or 3 best players in his class, into flipping his commitment and coming to play for me, even at Jackson State, and then bring him to Colorado. I can get Jordan Seaton, the best offensive tackle, to come and play for me. I'm Deion Sanders. I draw in the talent. The failure here is my assistant coaching staff. That's what Deion is saying. Deion is not an X and O's guy. Deion is not someone that walks into the offensive staff meeting and draws up plays and says, hey, I spotted a weakness in the opponent. We should do X, Y, and Z. He's not someone that walks into the defensive room and says, hey, I see what they're doing on offense. This is what we should do. Deion was one of the most talented athletes in the history of the National Football League, and he used that raw talent to be one of the greatest players in the history of the National Football League. Deion's never been an X's and O's scheme guy, do the little things, do the details. I don't care what someone says in a documentary. The man ran a 4.2, 4.1 type 40 and, just remarkable skills. And he used that to the best of his abilities. But he's never been an X and O guy. That's not him. He doesn't even believe in that in a real way. He doesn't believe in the details in a real way. He thinks It's his talent as a charismatic person. Oh, when what's the guy's name? They had a receiver, Horn, not Joe Horn. I'm thinking of Joe Horn that played for the Chiefs and the Saints. But the kid just went off to the NFL this year. And remember, Deion had the deal on the sidelines. I told him his daddy's watching from jail. And then he went out and made a big play because I told him his daddy's watching from jail. That's what Deion Sanders considers, Jimmy Horn Jr., thank you. That's what Deion Sanders considers great coaching. Telling jailhouse stories about his players and inspiring them to play. Deion is pointing a finger at his assistant coaches. And Deion, I didn't go do the math, didn't go look up this morning because I was but Deion's got a very black coaching staff. He's got the offensive and defensive coordinators are white guys, and then he's given them a bunch of black guys as worker bees. And Deion's very, very comfortable pointing a finger at all of them, the defensive and offensive coordinators and the worker bees that he's given jobs and given opportunities to. They're failing. I've attracted great talent here. These guys can't coach them. And so he's about to tell Colorado, hey, I need some more money to pay for some better coaches, because that's always going to be the solution. Deion did his job. He attracted all the right talent. We've got better talent than everybody. We just haven't coached. And then he'll say, and that includes me, when everybody knows it doesn't include Deion.
Well, you'll never be accused of being too harsh on Deion, right? But as a college coach, when you're the CEO, GM, head coach, it's always on you, always. That is the reality. And I thought it was interesting when he said that we had the better team. When you say that more than once and you keep losing those games, then it falls back on coaching, doesn't it? I watched a lot of that West Virginia game. I saw some bright spots in the sense that Julian Lewis looks good, Jason. I don't think this is Malachi Nelson. I actually thought after a very shaky first quarter and a half, when he started to get the ball off on time, he showed some real arm talent. He stretched the field, threw vertical shots. I'm thinking, wow, there's something there. And then I'm thinking, okay, but aren't you the same coach that said no one learns anything by just sitting around? It's funny how that standard changes, right, for certain quarterbacks. But Colorado, to me, is a mid-level to second division Big 12 team. They're okay. They've lost their share of one-possession games, so they're not awful outside of 2 weeks where they were awful, okay? So I think Deion is having a little bit delusions of grandeur in a sense that, Deion, your coaching may not be the issue. The issue is you're a lazy recruiter because you don't have enough talent. That you needed to bring in 5 to 10 Jordan Seatons, not just one, and then rest on your laurels. I'm going to say this again. Any coach that says, I don't make home visits, but players come to me, that's not a coach that I would hire, because you are going to lose out in the talent acquisition portion of the game, which in college football, I still think that's about 80 to 90% of this job.
TJ?
Yeah, I think I agree with Steve completely there. The only thing maybe I'd say is, he may have just identified that this is his avenue to defend his recruiting. I've been recruiting well. Everything's good. Take a look. We got the better team. I just haven't coached well enough. And the other thing I'd say is there's actually nobody better at giving the impression that they're taking the blame for something while actually taking none. That is what he's doing here. He's giving the appearance, guys, it's on me. It all falls on me. But really, he's not taking any blame at all, Jason. I buy what you're saying. I think, going back to last year, he views his role as the chief marketing officer. That's been his entire thing. He's a branding expert, and he is. He's excellent. But what he's not is a CEO. He's not the guy who's in charge, who understands how things work and where to go. And when he says the buck stops with him, he can't really mean it, because I've never really seen him in charge. In fact, he rarely takes accountability. Was it the beginning of this season where he had that timeout disaster that you called him out for, and afterward he came out and defended? Well, what was I supposed to do? And it's call timeout. That's what you're supposed to do. Obviously, that's what every other head coach would have done. And so, yeah, that's that's look, it continues. The issue is always the same with Deion. He views the head coaching position as something that it's not, and you can't win that way.
You can't. It's not just the recruiting. Everything matters when you're the head coach. Showing up to press conferences in sunglasses, gold chains, and hoodie, and looking like one of the kids, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then when you throw in the bad decision making, because it's been more than once this year, he's mismanaged the ends of halves. He, just they took a timeout before this field goal towards the end of this game. That was all they had to do was run their kicker out there, kick the field goal, and then I think they would have all 3 of their timeouts. He blew one for no reason because he was indecisive. And he doesn't understand how his indecisiveness, it's like the things that he actually does as a head coach strategically, because he's not running the offense or the defense. He's not running special teams. But he is deciding when to call a timeout and how to manage ends of games, ends of halves. And he's horrible at those things. And he'll never take accountability for any of that. He doesn't because what a head coach, occasionally a great head coach, on game day, it's the only thing they can really do on game day, because you do all your coaching the week leading up. But sometimes on game day, you can make decisions that will get you an extra possession, get you an extra 3 points, whatever. He doesn't do that.
Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.